So I'm going to be picking some blue corn today. The blue jade corn is a little bit shorter corn stalk. So the stalks usually don't get much higher than about 4 feet, which is nice for picking. The only bad thing is the corn cobs tend to be smaller. So the way you can tell if corn is ready to be picked, and when I mean corn, I'm talking about sweet corn. When sweet corn is ready to be picked, the silk on top will be pretty brown and brittle, like this one here. So that one actually came off really easy, but usually what you'll do is, for example, this one here, you pull that down and then you push up, and then you can pull the corn cobs off really easy. So this silk here, you can see, is almost completely brown all the way through, and that's how you can tell. Once it gets to that point, sweet corn is usually ready. And if you want to be really certain, you know, if you've got a whole bunch of sweet corn coming due at the same time, what you can do is pull open the actual corn cob, and if you take your fingernail and put your fingernail into it, that actually, you probably can't see that on camera, but that actually just squirted out a cream corn type material. So that way you know it's ready. If you get it and the corn is hard, it's going to be really chewy, and that means it's past its prime. And at that point, you know, you might be able to save it for just saving seed for the next season, but you probably don't want to eat it at that point, unless you're using a drying type corn, in which case you would wait for the entire plant and the actual corn to be dry, and it'll be nice and dry and hard, and then those can be stored that way. Now this is a white corn, and as you can see, the silk is nice and pinkish red, and this stuff is definitely not ready. So you want to wait till this goes completely brown, and the actual corn will be bulging pretty good too. So this one definitely not ready. You want to wait on that. Now this corn down here is probably past its ripeness. The silk is completely gone. It's actually starting to pop out of the, so pull it down and then pull it up. So the corn's starting to pop out of the husk, and I would imagine it's probably pretty dry at this point. So now that we've picked our corn at the height of ripeness, we can go ahead and start shucking it. So shucking's pretty simple. You basically need to take the husk off and the silk off. And here you go. And then I need to get a wire basket here to put everything in. This is actually a white corn. That was a blue corn. And if you get any bad parts, like this top part of this is probably not particularly good, I'll set that aside for the chickens, but I'm not going to preserve that or cook it. So pretty simple. Just pull the corn husk off. Try to get most of the silk with you if you can, and then cut, and then snap the bottom part off, and you're good to go. So this is all the corn we just shucked. We have blue jade corn, white corn, and yellow corn. I did find a couple of corn cobs that were past their prime. Most of them were right on the money, but if you look at this corn cob here, hopefully you can see the dents in it. It starts to get little indents in the corn that, and then you can tell it's past its prime. So this is not a cob that I'm gonna preserve or eat, because it's going to be too starchy and it's not going to taste real good. So I'm going to be blanching and freezing the sweet corn we harvested today. So the first thing you want to do is get a pot of boiling water ready, and then as soon as the pot is boiling, you can go ahead and start putting your whole corn cobs in the pot. And you don't want to put so many in that completely stops boiling. It can stop boiling for about a minute or so, but if it stops boiling for longer than that, you've probably put too many corn cobs in, or your burner's not hot enough. So just kind of sort of monitor that. And once you've got enough corn cobs in, you want to let them boil for about 5 minutes, and then after that, we can put it in the ice bath. So after boiling the corn, you'll want to put the whole corn cobs in an ice bath immediately after pulling it out of the boiling water. So we boiled them for 5 minutes, and then I put the cobs in the colander, and then directly into the ice bath. So they'll be in the ice bath for about the same time as we boiled them, so they'll be in there for about 5 minutes. So after the 5 minutes in boiling water and then the 5-minute ice bath, we'll need to cut the kernels off the corn cobs. So this is actually just like almost like a knife that's specifically designed for cutting the kernels off. And you can just use a regular knife. It doesn't have to be something like this. I've just found this thing to be pretty handy. It works pretty well. I do like to use you see my bowl is really wide, just because it makes it easier to get your hands in. If you have a tight bowl, it makes it really frustrating to do this. And I would say that this is by far the most difficult part of the process, because once we've got all the corn kernels cut off, then it just goes into the vacuum packer and gets frozen. So after this part, everything else is fairly easy. Okay, so the final step, we have all the corn blanched and put in the ice bath. And then what we'll do is we'll fill up our freezer bags, our vacuum packer freezing steam bags. And you really don't want to fill these up. You really can't fill these up all the way to the top, because then it won't vacuum seal properly. So I usually fill it up right to the top of the little white lettering there. Right about here is usually more than enough. And then to vacuum seal it, what you want to do is you put the top part in the vacuum, and you lock it down, and there's a little button for the vacuum seal. It's vacuum packed and sealed. And so then now this just needs to go into the freezer.